Hello and welcome to Talking Good Gamers match preview of Arsenal against West Ham United in the Premier League with some potential interesting West Ham team news coming up as we talk about them. But first, we're going to start with their opponents as always, Gonzo. Can I get your thoughts on Arsenal, please?
Arsenal, they've rallied a little bit this season, and I feel that they've probably done so because they did so badly last season, and they've not had the distractions of Champions League and everything like that. I think they've been able to more or less concentrate on the league form. I think that Arteta, fair play to the board. There was a bit of pressure on Arteta, and they can make a lot of noise, the Arsenal fans, and put a lot of pressure on a manager. And there was certainly a lot of pressure on Arteta. So I fair play to the board for sticking with him. And I think you're now starting to see the sort of bear the fruits of the work on the training ground, him maybe getting a grip, getting a handle on some of the players who might be disruptive to the team spirit. He's blooding the youngsters, getting the youngsters involved as well. And he's actually managed to get some players who previously hadn't really performed or featured too much. He's got them playing as well. And I think maybe a lot of it changed their over-reliance on singular players, which I think has been the sort of hallmark of Arsenal in recent years. So actually, it doesn't matter if the superstar is not performing. He's making them a team, and I think that they've done reasonably well with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're almost becoming a hybrid of almost like, not to just this extent, but Man City and West Ham to some extent. I think he's trying to balance the talent with the hard work side of it as well. You know, they've got to work harder than what City do to some extent, but they've got to try and to some extent play prettier football than what West Ham do. And I think he's somewhere in the middle there. And I think he's doing all right, actually, Arteta. I've been reasonably impressed with what he's doing at Arsenal, but it's very much a long-term thing. The word project gets thrown around in football. You were speaking earlier about myths in football, and I think the word project's a bit of a myth in football because nobody gets the time anymore to do that. It's sort of like you need results like that instantly. You need results. You look at Everton at the minute, and they are a bit of a laughing stock, to be fair, but you know, half a season Benitez has had, and the pressure is already massive on him, kind of thing. You need patience with managers, and I think Arteta just gives the vibes of a manager. If you do just wait, if you do give him time, you are going to have to put up with possibly a couple of average seasons in terms of results and trophies and stuff, then you might just get better, you might grow. And if Arteta doesn't make it work, you get the feeling the next manager along will benefit from what Arteta's done. But like what Frank Lampard's done at Chelsea, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Tuchel's benefiting from Frank Lampard blooding the likes of Reece James. And I think Arteta's going through that at the minute. He's doing all right. You've been impressed by him so far. I know what you said, what he's doing, but have you been impressed by what he's doing?
Yeah, I have. I like him. I think there's a lot to like. I think he's goes about it in a quiet, understated way. But I can't, and I rate him as a coach, and I really do. But I don't think you can play down the significance of him being allowed to work. And I don't know who's out of Edu is still there behind the scenes or whatever, but Emery is a good manager. That's clear. Emery was a good manager before Arsenal, and he's a good manager after Arsenal. And the fact that he wasn't a good manager at Arsenal probably says a lot more about Arsenal at that time than it does about Unai Emery. So I think clearly something's had to change there. And I quite like that. And it's really important at any club that the manager is made to feel that he is the most important guy. You talk about Chelsea. We've seen it at Chelsea a lot over the years where the players can undermine a manager and get rid of the manager. And it's actually really important that when Arteta says jump, everybody else says how high. We got that at West Ham. Moyes is the boss. That's it. No player is. Moyes is the boss. And if what you have to do is be able to deal with these players, and at the moment the problem player appears to be Aubameyang, and he signed a ridiculously long and large, hefty contract. I hopefully, I don't really care what Arsenal do, but for them, the Ozil contracts, all of that sort of stuff, and now he's in Aubameyang, they'll get rid of that, and for him to put his foot down and say, no, I'm the boss, and you know what, I don't care what you're doing, you're out of the team, and you know what, Martinelli's playing bloody well anyway, so off you go, or whoever the case may be, whoever plays there. So I like him. I like the cut of his jib. He's got a bit of leadership quality.
Yeah, I agree. He's got a spine. Previous tenures under Arsenal where it did feel like there was a bit of player power. Aubameyang was disruptive in the previous manager as well, and he sort of got away with it to some extent. And this isn't the first time Arteta has sort of disciplined him a little bit and said, "No, you broke the rules. If you like, I put a rule in place. You broke that. You come back a day late. You will not be playing at the weekend." I expect him to be back in this squad for the West Ham game, perhaps not starting after their win against Southampton at the weekend. But you could argue that that is what makes it good man management. You punish him for one game, you discipline him for one game, then you put him back in. And then that's where you look at the complete polar opposite. I used Everton as an example earlier. I'll use it again. You look at them at the minutes with Lucas Dean. Benitez has had to take him out of the squad completely. And there's no sign of him. This is now 2 games now that we've not seen Lucas Dean at Everton. One of their best players gone out of the squad for disciplinary reasons. And Arsenal need a bit of that, really. I think at times in the past, a bit like what Pogba was at Man United with Mourinho to some extent. It was like you've got to pick between the manager and your star player. And often it feels like the star player is the victory because they're worth more to the brand of the football club to some extent. Their value in the as a brand is worth more than the manager. If they back Arteta, I think they'll be all right. Like I said, I've been reasonably impressed when I watched them play football as well. But do you know what else impresses me, Gonzo? The One Football app. That's a hybrid between good football and a good working app.
It is, absolutely. And I don't think they punish people for turning up for training late either. In fact, you can tune in and use the One Football app anytime you want. If you are half an hour late, don't worry about it. The app is there. Not only will it be there, the news will be updated by half an hour incrementally. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? So it doesn't matter if you're a West Ham fan or you're an Arsenal fan. When you sign up for the One Football app, by the way, use the link below, please. I know you've come from Hammer's Chat. That makes us look good, right? But you can say, I either support West Ham or I support Arsenal. Don't say both. Otherwise, there's something wrong with you, really. But choose that. Download it. It's free. And it'll put all the news for your chosen club into one place.
Happy days. As it stands, Gonzo, on the league, I had a look on the One Football app before we did this to see how close. I knew Arsenal were breathing down our necks, but they're 2 points behind us as we speak. So if they win on Wednesday, they'll leapfrog us into the top 4. What's a good season for Arsenal?
Well, if they were doing what we were doing, it would be a good season at the moment. I think all Arsenal fans say we should be challenging for the title when we move to the Emirates, and we should be a Champions League team. And I mean, I think they'd probably be delighted if at the moment to be doing what Arsene Wenger was doing towards the end of his reign, which was qualifying for Europe every season. So. But I think you've got to take it. I've got to take a few things into account, a few things into context, and that is that the Premier League has improved. That a lot of the bigger teams have. I mean, you might say Klopp and Guardiola are the best 2 managers in the world. Arteta's a young manager. I think players, teams are spending big. I mean, United brought in Sancho and then they brought in Ronaldo just when they thought they'd stop. So you've got all these clubs. It looks, look what Chelsea spent on Lukaku. It looks like City are either going to get Mbappe or Haaland. Arsenal are down the pecking order now. Okay, so actually Arsenal's probably the first thing they need to do is be the best team in London, or probably the second best team in London. At the moment, they might be the 4th best team in London, but there's sort of a lot of them vying for places there. Really, they need to qualify for Europe. Doesn't have to be Champions League. If they could get Europa League and win the FA Cup, well, that would do both actually. But you know what I mean? That's something like that. I think the top 4 is going to be a bit of a stretch, but they're one of the teams in the mix.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think they're in the race for top 4, but I think there's 5 or 6 teams in the race for that 4th spot at the moment. And the question is, can you do it? I actually think long term, short term, it would be a big achievement for Arteta to get Arsenal to 4th, and they'd enjoy it and so on and so forth. I actually think long term, it might actually in a weird way benefit Arsenal not finishing 4th this season, that they can have another season where they don't. European football's not a distraction. Yes, they'd have the Europa League, but Arsenal have got a good enough squad that can do what West Ham have done so far, which is field 5 first-team players and 6 second-string players and win the group comfortably. Arsenal have got the squad there to do that. And it would also provide a good... I mean, the one thing they are lacking, I think they've got the sort of the good and the bad of no European football at the moment, Arsenal. The good is they can focus on the league. They're doing that. They're in touching distance of 4th at the minute, coming up to midway through the season. They've got some players... young players getting really good game time in the Premier League, looking really good. But I also think they've got some young players not getting enough game time at Arsenal, and there's not really any opportunity for Arteta to play them. Look at Eddie Nketiah, who we've been linked with in the past. Looks like he's on his way out because of lack of game time, despite Arsenal offering him a new deal. If they had the Europa League or even the Europa Conference League, as much as they look down at Arsenal because Tottenham are in it, they would have been able to play him regular football. It might have been enough to keep him there for Arteta to have a look at him and stuff. So I think they are seeing both sides, the advantages and disadvantages of not playing in European football this season. But it gives them a good opportunity to capitalise on it, because come March, we've got European football to contend with. Tottenham may still have European football to contend with as well. It gives Arsenal a slight advantage over clubs like us. Players you admire, I guess there's a few of them you can pick from, which perhaps hasn't always been the case in the last few seasons with Arsenal. They've almost become a bit of a joke of the Premier League. It's almost been like a social media meme, Arsenal as a club.
Yeah.
But I actually think in the last 18 months or something, I think they've done quite well, and they've got some damn good players coming through, Gonzo.
Yes, well, coming through. You're absolutely right about that. Martinelli is really quick, isn't he? Really quick, really direct. I sort of had to do a double take the other day when I watched it, because I was a bit sleepy. I wasn't sure what I was watching, and he looked like Ronaldo for a second. Hold on, no, I got that all wrong. Hold on, it's the wrong team. But I thought he looked really, really good. Far better than I ever thought he was. I think Partey looks when I've seen him play this season, looks like the player they thought they'd signed initially. Obviously Saka as a really effective player. We all like Smith Rowe, of course. I'll tell you what I did see him play earlier on in the season. Trippier wasn't playing at left wing back.
Tierney,
sorry. Yeah, Trippier. No, but I'm also saying Trippier definitely wasn't playing at left wing back, but neither was Tierney. There was another geezer there. It wasn't Trippier or Tierney.
Nuno Tavares.
He was good. He looked really good. And to such an extent, I thought, he might knock the Scotsman out of the team, this guy. I think, is he Portuguese or something? He might be a little Portuguese player. So he was very impressive. Look, I mean, you can go through the team. There's lots of them, but there's a handful for you.
Yeah, he's raw, Tavares. I think he's raw. I think he's got something about him, though. He looks very athletic, gets forward really well. I have to agree with you. Obviously, Kieran Tierney is my favourite Arsenal player, naturally. He's not done as well as I expected. He's had a lot of injuries since going to Arsenal and stuff, but I thought he'd almost establish himself as one of the best left backs in the Premier League pretty quickly. But when they paid 25 million or whatever it was, I thought it was a bit of a bargain, to be honest with you. Sometimes when you spend big, it doesn't mean it can't be a bargain. It can, there's plenty of examples across the Premier League, Salah, Mane and stuff. But I think when they got Tierney for 25, I thought they've got a good player there. It's not quite happened for him yet. When I have seen him, he's been impressive enough, but he's got another 1 or 2 levels to go, and I think Arsenal fans will see that long term. I'm going to have to eat a little bit of humble pie with Ramsdale, Gonzo. I used to think he was crap.
You did.
I did. I don't mind him, man. I thought he was crap, and he's impressed me a lot this season. Kept Arsenal in some games. He's a very calm, savey goalkeeper. I think sometimes he takes it too far. It'll be a simple save, and you'll tip it around the post and go rolling 3 times. He did it against Southampton. It was one of the Ward-Prowse's free kick was going reasonably wide. A good goalkeeper would know it's going wide and just stand and watch it, but he decided to dive and tip it around the post and stuff.
We used to call it a Bruce Grobbelaar, by the way. In my generation, we used to call it a Bruce Grobbelaar.
We just call that camera save. My generation, we just called that.
Yeah, we didn't have cameras. Yeah.
The uncultured ones among us didn't know who Bruce Grobbelaar was.
Well, just the young ones, not uncultured. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's done well this season. I have to be. And Martinelli's, he's always looked like a player. Martinelli's now getting a run in the team, and sort of Smith Rowe and Odegaard and are going to almost have to battle for one place. The form that Martinelli's in, he's just been in fantastic form. I'm going to disagree a little bit with you about Partey. I'm not convinced by him as yet. Had some good games, but he's had some crap. One thing is guaranteed on Wednesday, Gonzo. I guarantee this will happen. It's like Arsenal West Ham bingo. Partey will shoot from 25 yards and will fly 20 yards over the bar at some point on Wednesday. If he goes to shoot from long range, just almost let him.
It might make contact with Antonio's from last season.
maybe. Anyway, enough about Arsenal. Time to talk about West Ham. Gonzo, would you like some interesting team news?
I'd love some interesting team news.
It's not the fact that Aaron Creswell's back. That's good news. Aaron Creswell is back. David Moyes confirmed at the weekend that he was training in London on Sunday while the boys were in Burnley at Turf Moor for the game. So he's fit and available. So we'll be considering him when we do our hypothetical team selections. But the interesting news is, as we speak, the under-23s are currently playing, and there's 3 notable absences. The first 2, quite obvious, Harrison Ashby and Elise. They're not playing. Baptiste is, though, so that would suggest that he's perhaps not included in the squad against Arsenal. Makes sense with Alan Creswell coming back, though. Someone's going to have to miss out. However, Oko Flex is also not playing for the under-23s this afternoon. So the eagle eye amongst us are begging the question, is he set to be included in the squad on Wednesday to take on Arsenal? Gonzo wants to see something different, something that's going to spice it up a little bit. And perhaps Oko Flex is the December spice up for West Ham. But anyway, Gonzo, let's talk about our hypothetical 11s. I think the first question is the formation. The return of Alan Creswell gives you two options, essentially, isn't it? It's our traditional 4-2-3-1, or to go 3 at the back and play with wing backs against Arsenal. How would you like to see us line up?
Well, I think, particularly given our chat this morning on the Patreon video, I think I'd like to go with the 3 at the back, please, Geo. With Aaron Creswell, obviously the left centre half, and Diop and Dawson in there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, actually. Why? What's your reasoning for 3 at the back?
My main reason is the lack of anybody in. Is to take one. It's to punish Geo, to punish one of the attackers and take them out of there and give them a rest, freshen it up, whatever the case may be. It's only Bowen that is consistently on form at the moment, and I just. It's as I say, it's like I don't mean like I used the phrase like moving the chairs around on the Titanic. I don't mean it to be that much because we're not going down, we're not sinking, far from it. But the analogy is don't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you arrange the chairs. It's what the inevitable is going to happen anyway. And I just think it doesn't matter how we mix up and how we move these players around. The rest of it, actually, we just got too many of them out of form, and. Maybe Masuaku's just a little bit more confident at the moment. Maybe just him. He's got his tail up. He's scored the goal against Chelsea. He had a dipping volley against Burnley, and by even your admission, you said he had a decent game. Maybe you're just going to get more out of him than Benrahma or Fornals or something like that, and to take one of them out. I also think Moyes would like the defensive solidity. I think there's a couple of reasons for doing it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, by the way, with your back 3 and Soufal and Masuaku wing backs. And I thought Masuaku did fine against Burnley. He was decent. Was he 8 out of 10? No, but I'll tell you something, I thought he performed better than what the people ahead of him did. And I think those ahead of him deserve to be dropped before Masuaku does. But Aaron Creswell is one of those players that when he's fit, he goes straight back into the starting 11. So Creswell starts for me, regardless of what formation. So if it's back 4, fortunately, Masuaku either has to move forward in the team or he's on the bench because Creswell goes straight in there. But because we are lacking sort of an attacking invention at the minute, if you like, and we need something different, that Creswell-Masuaku combination down the left, we've seen it plenty of times in the past, and we started last season using this formation. It wasn't really until the arrival of Jesse Lingard well and truly seen us switch to a flat 4 and continue playing like that because we needed that number 10 position, which when we play with 3 at the back, we don't have it. It's more like a 3-4-3 that we play. Yeah. That Creswell-Masuaku partnership is a good partnership. Often when you get players like that, if you're an Arsenal fan, you might be able to tell us, but if you were to play 3 at the back and put Nat Nuno behind Kieran Tierney, would we get on okay? Would there be a bit of selfishness between them? It's almost like, oh, you're in my position kind of thing. We've seen it with Scotland with Tierney and Robertson. They don't always link up that well. You'd hope they would. They're a good threat, but they're not as good as you would like them to be. With West Ham, we don't have that issue. It's probably one of our best partnerships in our squad, the Creswell-Masuaku combination down that left. And at least if whoever's up front isn't firing, at least we should be able to create good opportunities through Creswell, Masuaku, and Soufal. It would give Soufal that license to push on that extra 10 yards and take the game to Arsenal. I'd go 3 at the back. Souček and Rice in the middle as always.
Yeah, of course. Oh. Yeah. No. Sorry, I was already ahead of you. I was thinking. Well,
this is where it gets tasty. Normally. this is where it gets tasty, isn't it?
It
Three
is, yeah.
spaces left.
Mm.
There's one player that's got to start. There's one player, first
Yeah.
name in the team sheet, Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
Who's your other two?
Well, you've got to play Antonio at the moment. However, I just think the lack of... I've not seen enough of Voco Flex to start saying putting him in there. I think Bowen is playing so well anyway that, you know, you move him out of position, you might not get the same sort of player there anyway. And I do think we... it's Gabriel is their defender, right? Is that the guy? When I've seen him, he looks okay as well. And I think you need to get around. You need to make him know that he's in the game. And as much as I like Bowen, I'm not sure at centre forward Bowen does that. So I still think Antonio gives him more of a game. But Gio, you've got to really get the message across to Antonio in this one, mate. I'm gonna, you know, this is the problem. You can't say I'm gonna drop you at the moment, and that's what he needs to be saying to Antonio. He needs to be saying, "I'm gonna drop you, mate. You know, if you don't do it, I'm gonna give you a rest. You know, whatever. It's no big thing about selling him or anything like that. This is he's got to be in the team, but with a warning. And then the one other, I mean, take your pick. If we're playing that, which we are with the wing backs, I probably wouldn't play Ben Rama and Masuaku. So Lanzini or Fornals. Coin toss, Lanzini.
Yeah, I have dropped Antonio for this one. I think because I think it's almost gone too far calling his bluff. I bet you Moyes has tried the whole I'll drop you thing in the past because he's tried everything else. But at the end of the day, our striker's got 1 goal in 12 games. He's out of form. That's simple. You know, Declan Rice, I only just listened to it in the last couple of hours. Declan Rice's interview with Fool, and he basically said about how Antonio's goals have dried up and sort of said that every striker goes through that, the rest of us have got to step up a little bit. But you don't often hear your captain admitting your striker's goals have dried up. Now, it's a bit difficult for Declan because it's a fact, 1 goal in 12. He can't suggest anything else. But what he could have said was, yeah, but he's doing everything else. He's contributing to the team in different ways. You know, his goals don't really matter that much. But he didn't. He very much said his goals have dried up. And I think it was almost like, I could almost sense frustration from Declan Rice to some extent, which is, well, we're doing our bit at the back and in the middle of the pitch. And it's not happening up front. And for that reason, I would leave him out for Wednesday against Arsenal. I would put Bowen through the middle because while his finishing isn't the best, Jared Bowen's, I've always thought his positioning and his runs are second to none. I think his timing, his positioning is really, really good. And for someone that gets picked up on for lack of finishing, well, it's easy to do that. What you sometimes miss is the fact that he's getting into these positions to miss the finishing, if that makes sense at all. Antonio ain't even getting into the positions to have an attempt at the finishing at the moment. So at least if we can get someone that's in the right place, that's progress. I would put Jared Bowen up front for this one. I agree with what you're saying about Ben Rama. I think him and Masuaku down one side would be inviting pressure on because Arsenal are good coming back at their fullbacks. I can't remember how you pronounce the Tomayasu, the Arsenal right back. I can't remember, but he's impressed me. Gets forward really well as well. So we've got to be a bit cautious there. So it's Lanzini or Fornals is a bit of a toying cost for me. You know, Fornals has had a couple of games out now. Hopefully that would see a reaction. But at the same time, I think Lanzini's done enough in his substitute appearances to warrant a proper chance. And I don't think 80 minutes or whatever he had. Sorry, I know when Vlasic came on, but 80 minutes or something at Turf Moor, I don't know if that's a fair chance at starting. You know, Ben Rama feels like he's had 10 games in a row. You can't give Lanzini one, say, well, that's it, out you come, son. But I agree with you about Alcoflex. I would put Vlasic in, Gonzo. I think I like my stats, as you know. I sent it to you on purpose, which is he's created 3 chances. He was on the pitch for 17 minutes, created 3 chances from open play. You know, he's got to be something there. And have we seen enough from him off the bench? No. But have we seen enough from those on the pitch to stay in the team? I don't think so.
He's looked livelier than the others.
Yeah, in the last 3 games. He looked lively. A lot of people thought he looked crap against Burnley. I thought he'd come on and look quite good. I thought he was moving the ball about well. I thought he just looked decent. I thought he carried a sense of a threat at least, whereas other ones were just a little bit like ghostly out of the game.
Tired, Geo, which you can understand.
Yeah, so Vlasic ain't got that. You know, he's come here without a pre-season. I kept saying to you, this is his pre-season to an extent, but at some point that's got to end. It's like, well, you can't have that anymore. You're now up to fitness, get in the team kind of thing. And, this isn't a guy who paid 2.8 million for. This is a guy who paid 28 million for. I expect a bit of ability about him. And yes, we have to give him time to settle in. However, England's not completely new to him. He's been at Everton before, so it's not a whole new setup or anything to him like that. And he's been here for a few months now, so get him in the team. Let's give him a fair crack at the whip. It's going to be a difficult game. We know that, but I just want to try something different. The last thing I want to do is a review with you on Wednesday night, Gonzo, where we've put out the same team again. We've struggled to create any chance again. We've got beat. That will annoy me more than trying something and it not working. I'd rather try something different and it fails than fail to try something a little bit different. Some big calls for Moyes, do you think, ahead of this game with the injuries, formations, players out of form, which he has spoken about himself?
Yeah, but Moyes has got to. Moyes' own personal ambition has to kick in at some point. I want Moyes' personal ambition to be greater than his loyalty to the players. So I want him to be turning round to whatever. We'll pick Antonio. I'm sorry, we'll do it again, but there you go. We'll use Antonio's example. I want Moyes to be saying, well, look, obviously he calls him Mikey, doesn't he? Listen, Mikey, I've tried to be loyal to you. I have been loyal to you, but mate, I'm close to dragging this team up to the Champions League, and I can't keep trying to do you a favour here, mate. And that's what I want him to do, to actually think, right, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this. So concoct something else, do whatever, stick Bowen up front, do something. Like I said before, mess with his brain in training. It was a Patreon. For those of you who don't know, what I said before was actually when they're doing 11v11, I'd take Antonio out the first team and actually play someone like Arco Flex up front. And just say to Antonio, I'm just trying something here, just so Antonio thinks, hold on a second, what's going on here? What's going on here? And literally have Occo Flex in the team with Souček and Rice and Cresswell, and have Antonio in the other team, basically, with Yarmolenko and all the rest of it. Just so Antonio thinks, hold on, what's going on here? And then make it all the way up. Say it's touch and go, and just say I'm not announcing the team yet. Even if you announced the team early, so I'm not announcing the team yet, fellas. There's a couple of things I want to do first. I've got some decisions to make. And Antonio over there thinking it's me. You can drop me. I think you could do with a bit of that. I really do. That rather than being cocksure. So, but this is what I'm saying, mate. Moyes, whatever he does, be it change of formation, mind games, whatever, he needs to start thinking of himself now, because he's dragged us up there, and it seems like we talk about Arsenal because it's Arsenal, but Arsenal and Tottenham, they're biting at our arses, and the top three are stretching away. So big game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I want to see a reaction from Moyes, and I want to see a reaction from the players as well. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Antonio's been fantastic up front for us. It's not working at the minute. That's all it is. He needs a little bit of a rest, and we need to try something different. And we might find the answer to our solution within the squad without us having to dip into the January transfer market. But as it stands, checkbook needs to get a bit opened without us trying anything within the squad that we've got. And Vlasic might come good, but he needs a bit of an opportunity. And I just think Ben Rama's had enough time on the pitch to justify Vlasic getting time on the pitch, if that makes sense. Are you confident for this one?
I'm confident we won't get whooped. We don't. So, am I confident we're going to win? No, not really. But honestly, I don't say in any game, any result could happen here. None would surprise me. But I do think it'll be a narrow, so a narrow loss, a draw, or a narrow win wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't think it'll be an easy game for Arsenal. By the way, I don't think they'll find it easy at all. I think we can cause them real problems. And if we attack with menace and we attack with pace, depends on the personnel and the team, of course, then we can have them on the back foot as well. But I'm not confident 100% that we're going to beat Arsenal, no.
It's a hard game to call, this one, I think. It depends on what... Sometimes you sort of say it depends on what West Ham turns up, and it's been a while since I felt like that, because usually it's like, well, I know what West Ham's going to turn up. Yeah. It's fine, I'm confident. But for this game, I'm a bit like, well, which version of us is going to turn up, but also which version of Arsenal is going to turn up? I seen them a few weeks ago looking really good, winning. Then I see them at Everton looking rubbish and getting beat. Then against Southampton at the weekend, 3-0 win. And for the first 20 minutes, they were crap. Southampton were by far the better team. A better team would have been 2 goals up at the Emirates on Saturday afternoon. But once they got going and stuff, and there was a spell in the second half, where I said to you, Arsenal played like prime Arsenal. Now, that might be a bit of exaggeration. There was no likeness of Thierry Henry or that going on.
Sure,
but
sure.
Martinelli and Saka, man, they were running the show. They were genuinely, for Arsenal fans, they were a joy to watch. I thought they were. I was genuinely watching them, thinking, "Wow, this is really good football. This is enjoyable to watch. It must be enjoyable to play." And when you're playing good football, it helps your tails go up. You start trying stuff you don't normally try before, and everybody just benefits from you playing like that kind of football. So if that 50 minutes of Arsenal turns up, they could stick 3 or 4 past us. But if that Arsenal that turned up against Everton, we can stick 3 or 4 past them. It's a difficult one to call, and I think it's a big game really, because like I said, if Arsenal win, they leapfrog us, but we'll feel like the first time since the start of last season. Really, it doesn't feel like they've been above us since 18 months ago or something like that. It would be a big. Football's about momentum and confidence a lot of the time and stuff. I think this game would be huge in favour of Arsenal. Us as well, of course, but I think because we've been lingering around the 4th, 5th and 6th spots for so long, it's sort of, we're used to it a little bit, whereas Arsenal's been through a bit of a rocky period and the tide's turning a little bit. And if they beat West Ham, who's been around for so long, now they're going to get a bit of belief that says, right, come on then, we can make this season a good one. We can get into top 4. And I think this feels a bit more important to them than it does to us. Nobody said that. It's just my own opinion. Anyway, with all that said and done, can I get any final words? And most importantly, your score prediction, please.
Yeah, well, it sort of ties in, really. I think Cresswell coming back is important because the corners. And I think we need to get back to that. We have just as much threat with Diop and Dawson in there as we do with Ogbonna and Zuma. We've lost nothing there. In many respects, the best player we got to attack from corners is Dawson. The second best player is Souček, and they're both in the team. So the delivery is key here. So to actually have, in particular, Cresswell in there as well, then I feel that's important. I think if we could do that, if we can keep it tight. You mentioned earlier about, if they Supreme Arsenal or Primark Arsenal or whatever you called them, they could score 3 or 4 against us. I don't think anyone does that to us, really, because I just think we get so many numbers behind the ball. And I've already praised Saka. Saka's a wonderful player. But I think it's hard with the amount of numbers we get back, but we get back. We also break on the counter attack. Arsenal's style may well suit us, so I wouldn't be surprised actually if Arsenal play okay. We defend really well, and we win 2-1 with at least one corner goal, at least one goal from a corner.
The good thing with being good at set pieces, Ramsdale will give you plenty of corners. Just hit it at distance. You just tip over the bar constantly. Even if it's an average shot, that depends how old you are. That camera save or that Bruce save might come out, and then that'll lead to a lot of corners for West Ham. So that's what I want to see, more shots from us on Wednesday. I know we had something like 16 against Burnley. Didn't really feel like that, but only 3 were on target. I want to see us pepper this Arsenal goal, because while Ramsdale's having a good season, he never used to be this good. I'm quite convinced I've seen Ramsdale be really bad before at Bournemouth and Sheffield United, and even some moments at Arsenal as well. I want to see us test him. And if he is going to do his camera save, that's fine. Let's benefit from those corners and let's take advantage of it as well. I am going to say Arsenal 1, West Ham 1, however. I'm going to say a draw on Wednesday evening. Anyway, 8 p.m. kickoff, which means myself and Gonzo will be live with the build-up show at 6:55. At 5 to 7, we'll be live on Wednesday evening. So make sure you pop along. We'll be taking a look at the West Ham team, the Arsenal team, giving you our final thoughts. We'll be interacting with the live chat as well. It's by far our most interactive show. So pop along on Wednesday evening for the build-up show. Then we've got the watch on, then the review. Hammers Chat, your one-stop shop for everything on match day. Drop a like on a preview. Enjoy this. Subscribe to you. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.